Okay, welcome everybody to today's Helm Developer Call, Thursday, March 27th. Please note this call follows the CNCF guidelines, so please be polite. And the call is recorded, so if you don't want to be on camera, then please turn off your camera. Okay, so the formalities out of the way. And right, so we'll go to announcements. First, we've got Ingi with KubeCon updates.
Yeah, I was just telling the other guys, but I wanted to say a big shout out. Thank you to Scott. Got me to replace George, who can't be at the Contrib Fest as a speaker. So now I can attend the conference. And then crazily, I mean, this morning I found out that my friend Andy Randall, I don't know if you guys know him, he got lightning talk for the rechex thing. So yeah, kind of went from zero to full on thanks to the help of my friends. So thanks, friends.
Awesome. Yeah. It was good timing. I literally emailed them on Sunday night to say that I couldn't make it.
Mhm.
Figured I should probably notify, and then yeah. Sounds like Monday you joined in, so perfect. All right. Karen, project booth location to be. Is that the
Well, sorry, I'm not on my personal computer, so I'm a guest on the notes. We will be at location 2B. There's a link to the project pavilion map. So if you look at the map, it is like kind of in the top left-hand corner. So if any of you all want to help out or just want to come say hi to any of us, that's where it will be. And then Replicated has offered to provide swag for this conference, so we will have custom Helm tea towels that we'll be giving away. Yeah, so I think at least one person has signed up for each slot for KubeCon, or for our project booth at KubeCon, so we should be good to go. I will try and send those out either today or tomorrow. Other than that, I think we're fairly good. If anyone has questions, just ping me during the week. I will be at KubeCon. I'll be focused on some other stuff, but I should be around. That's it for me. Thanks.
you? Yeah, the more people can get to the booth, it can get pretty busy, the better. And it's also fun to kind of talk to people and of course. Discussion. I'm going to probably mispronounce Russia. I see you've got working with Helm here. Is Russia on the call?
Let's see.
Request is perhaps listed in the topic, and I think the request here is documentation in Hindi. I suspect.
Let me just.
Yeah, it's got to go.
Well, I just indented that so it's clear that that's part of the same conversation.
Oh yes, I see there is a PR. I don't know who normally would review documentation PRs, but I assume you have to be fluent in the language being targeted. I don't know if there's a CNCF resource that can help here.
We can put in a request. But that's a good question about reviewing language translations.
Yeah, in the past, I've just kind of done Google Translate and mapped it and just made sure like the sections are there and whatnot. Yeah, but it does take forever. Yeah.
Yeah, and like just making sure there's nothing like, offensive or some that it seems to be generally accurate, but yeah.
Okay.
There's a Netlify fail, and I haven't looked yet into. I mean, I looked into the error right now. It looks just like that there's some missing targets, so I may. I don't know if I have time to actually do a full review of this before KubeCon, but if somebody else does too, that would be nice. The errors are pretty clear, so maybe if someone can help spell out to the person what the missing files are, that might help them.
Cool. So I guess the short version is maybe we could stick some quick notes on the PR to fix the errors, say that the contribution is accepted and either here or on the docs, and
Yeah.
um assuming time zone differences they couldn't join. Austin, case status watcher.
Yeah, just
I can take a pass on this, and this is Semiosta.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's ready for review. Got Stefan's kind of thumbs up, and we're using his maintainership of CLI utils. So yeah, pretty much it.
Since we're since we're here, did we manage to solve the global object?
Yep.
Okay,
I
I'll
like
look at the
your
details.
suggestion. I just added more gets. I mean, technically it might be a 1 or 2 extra calls to the Kate's server, but I think it maybe not even. Maybe it just saves since you already have the config, like a few extra API calls, but nothing
Okay.
major.
I'll take a look. Thank you for
Oh, this is
raising.
great. I actually didn't see that PR got merged upstream there. Nice.
Awesome. Evans,
Yes.
fixed take ownership.
Yes. So there was a comment on a PR that has to do with take ownership. So, and question here is, should we default to three-way matching, three-way merging of CRDs and structured, custom resources, basically? And that question is to basically give direction to this PR. If we default to that, then the implementation will change. If we don't want to default to that, then there's some changes for V3 that need to be done. Yeah, so I don't have enough context in how Helm worked before, and to make that call. Sorry, I have a bad throat.
My personal opinion is I think if Helm wants to fix custom resources, it should switch to server-side apply. There's a risk that if we change the existing code to handle custom resources and it doesn't, or custom resource objects, I guess to be precise, then if there's downsides or bugs or awkward implementation details, then people aren't really going to have then it's a poor experience. There's probably little risk, as in it's already a poor experience in that sense, but I guess there's a risk it could be made worse. The thought is if we offer server-side apply, then that's a whole new system, and ideally that's kind of the Kubernetes production way of doing object merges today. And this client-side merge is really legacy at this point. It's pretty much unsupported from Kubernetes perspective now. So there's a risk in trying to make it better and failing versus just driving forward with server-side apply.
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, though, the context of this, I mean, I agree with that, but just to be clear, the context of this is for a bug. Am I correct in this? This is
Yeah.
for that bug that's in the take ownership,
Am I
right? Where
mixing
it doesn't
PRs? Sorry, then.
it doesn't yeah, it doesn't. This is really for the bug in take ownership, where custom resources are not properly taken over. All other resources are, but custom resources are not. And I think the question about the three-way merge was just, or excuse me, the question about three-way merge is that we do three-way merge now for everything, for all other resources except for custom resources, just because, and I think Matt Farina explained this in another comment on another issue, that just because when the code was written for that in Helm, the three-way merge functionality, or the actual function that we used for the Kube client, didn't exist for custom resources, but now it does. And that's really the difference. So the question there was, should we, well, we kind of, it seems that we, at least in like testing it out, that we actually need to use the three-way merge in order for Helm to apply the labels to take ownership. Because using what we use now for custom resources from Kube client did not actually properly apply the labels during take ownership. So that was the question. Yeah, but the question about what we should do going forward, I think the hip on server-side apply is still applicable, and everything should update once we get to that. This is more like the bug fix in the meantime, and that's yeah. Should that be blocked on that hip? I guess I'm not sure that it should.
I'm not against using client-side merge for custom resource objects.
Hello?
I just think there's a risk in changing what's been there for a long time.
Yeah. Well, and just to be clear,
in the sense that if we also, sorry.
Just to be clear, this isn't proposing to change what's actually there. It's proposing to change it in the one place where the take ownership flag is passed, because what's there now just doesn't work at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe just.
Yeah, I was just looking at the code snippet and assuming it was a larger change. Okay.
So the question was, which George you've answered. My question was, it should change everywhere, or rather for custom resources, like by default, it should be the case. But now, from what you've said, I think it should just apply for take ownership flag.
Yes,
it's a
exactly.
concern I had, but just needed to check whether that's a
from a behavioral perspective, yeah, that's completely fine, because if the user is specifying take ownership and it doesn't work, then if they specify take ownership and it still doesn't work, then
right. I think your point stands, George, that we should not for now anyway, at least until we go to the server-side apply, change that default behavior everywhere else for CRs.
Okay, cool. I think we got a conclusion then.
Yeah.
Sorry for my misunderstanding at the start.
Oh, no, it's all good. Thank you.
I'm going to keep us moving. Ingi, we have asked Scott and George about YAML skip go query last week.
Yeah, Scott, you asked me for the URL for that module, and I was just wondering what you were looking at, or just.
Oh, right. I'm wondering.
Do you remember?
Yes, I do remember. I'm wondering if this is like, if we actually can address this properly.
Just give me the gist of it so I can think about it, and then we'll talk soon.
Well, the gist was about using that in the early stages of the plugins hip, the Helm 4 plugins hip, and the gist is that it imports, it uses C, it imports C binding, and that's something that we wanted to
the CGO thing.
Yeah, CGO, and we've tried to, and we are looking at if and how we might be able to overcome that for SDK users that want to use the libraries within plugins directly as opposed to using WASM. Okay. That's what we were really looking at.
Gotcha. And George, you mentioned something about embedding. There's a Go thing that embeds shared libraries in the binary.
Not shared libraries.
Well, files.
There's a Go embed package, which is built into the Go toolchain. I'll stick a link in this chat. This can allow you to package a file.
Right.
I haven't figured out how this. So I'll link in the Zoom chat. I haven't figured out how this works with modules without having the file in your source code though. Like if for for an application build, you can of course do something in your build script and then put the file there and then build your Go code and embed will work. A Go module, I'm pretty sure it has to be in your Git repository, unless there's some other other way that I don't know about.
Okay. Well, let's talk about it more later. That gives me enough to think about.
Yep. And yeah, the reason I bring that up is yeah, obviously for SDK users for Helm, then we've got to make a decision of whether if we want to package things with embed, then do we commit them to the Helm source tree?
Yeah. And I just dropped the link to the HIP that we're referring to for anyone who's totally lost at what we're even talking about.
Thank you.
Right.
Raphael added some comments, by the way, about the last topic, and I just don't want to overlook them.
Oh, I see. You can if there's something to add to the last discussion, Raphael, then feel free.
Yeah, actually, can
Yeah,
I just
so
that maybe just that also that I'll drop the link to the server-side apply HIP as well, so you could comment on it there too. But yeah, I did hear you for a second before accidentally interrupting you. I'm gonna let you go now, Raphael.
Can you say something, Raphael?
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I've run into a number of issues. This was about a year ago. I know the issue is still there, but we fixed it on the Flux side because of precisely how this was being patched. I think it's the issue that was being talked about using a node function for server-side applied on unstructured objects. So Helm isn't taking at all into account the current state of the CRs in the cluster. So what happens is if somebody edits a CR or something like that, Helm will never see that change. Will never apply any modifications to the CR to reflect the correct state. So moving to server-side apply will allow Helm to actually take into account what's into the cluster, because right now it doesn't. It just looks into the Helm state and compares to whatever's being upgraded and completely ignores whatever's running on the cluster for CRs specifically.
Do you mean custom resource objects, which are the
Yes.
or do you mean custom resource definitions, which are
custom resource objects?
Yes. So to paraphrase my understanding very quickly, yes, Helm doesn't understand the schema of custom resource objects, and so it doesn't, when it updates, it just basically replaces them. It doesn't try and do any merge with
the thing is, it doesn't even detect that it needs to be replaced if there are changes that have been done on the cluster, because it doesn't at any point read the actual object in the cluster. It does for other types of resources, but for CRs, it just checks whatever's coming from the Helm upgrade or whatever, compares it with whatever's on the Helm storage for whatever it deployed the last time, and ignores the fact that the content might have changed in the cluster.
Interesting. I thought it did upgrade by replace, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, the thing is, it won't replace if it doesn't detect a change, and there might have been a change on the cluster.
Okay, interesting. Do you know if there's an issue tracking this in Helm issue tracker?
I can't remember. I ran into this issue a bunch of months ago. It just I heard you guys talking about it, and it just came to the top of my head because at the time I followed the code and found the issue, but we implemented a different solution in Flux to actually use server-side apply and drift detection to patch those resources that Helm wouldn't. But I'm not sure if there's an open issue on the actual Helm repo.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, I always, or I had in my brain that Helm replaced, but my memory is potentially very likely wrong here. Okay, thank you. This is potentially something we should consider fixing in Helm, or at least server-side apply would definitely solve this, because it would just push Helm changes always to objects, and there'd be no merging in Helm side.
think I have a reference here of the code where this happens that I had in an issue on the Flux repo.
Yeah, so this is the behavior I was talking about. And the code that I'm looking at, the PR that I'm looking at, adds this three-way merge to that piece of code, but only for take ownership. So I don't know whether, sorry to bring you back to the original, the previous conversation. If we were to default to three-way merging, that would address what Rafael is talking about.
Yeah, I believe so.
But I'm not sure that's what we want, because if people have workarounds, then in V3, then it might be a problem. V4, that's okay. But then there's server-side apply. So yeah, I think there's a conversation there to be had. Rafael, do you mind creating like an example, an issue, and then maybe drop an example?
Yeah, I can try. I'll put it in my backlog. But this past couple of weeks, my time has been completely overbooked. But I'll try to add an issue around this.
Yeah, something like what I just dropped in chat would be good. Like some very simple. Here is our CR, CRD, and a few steps of how to reproduce. You might even just reuse what's on that issue.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna keep us moving in the interest of time. I've lost my notes now. I've said that. Browser tabs. Okay, so right, so that's the last of the discussion items. I don't think we have time for any more, so I'll move to shout outs. Scott, floor is yours.
Okay, basically I just wanted to like there's shouts out all over the place. Okay, basically I want to tell a shout out to Robert for like the KubeCon slide collaboration. It was really good. Thanks Ingy, as you mentioned, for volunteering to help attendees during Contrib Fest. Just to be very clear, we need people to go around and help folks during the jam session where like people are actually like opening a PR slash triaging a PR and helping with all those things. And there's a checklist of things that people need to know how to do before they can do that. And so yeah, your help there is gonna be very valuable, helping people get up to speed when they raise their hand saying, I don't know how to do X, Y, and Z. Shout out to Evans for the sequencing hip work, because there is really a lot of work that went into that. And like also like the issue that Matt Farina made around that to kind of summarize some of the other options. But yeah, it's all tied and very, very good. I think it's going to be very good for the community. To George for continuing to like the plugins hip collab. There's a lot of work going on there that people don't really see. And thanks, Karen, for you know, basically coordinating everything for KubeCon. I know it's what you do, but thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the organization and thanks for the shout out, Scott. All right, we have 4 minutes. Assignments for the next call. So this is the last one before KubeCon. Moderator notes. Issue
George, I think
Wait,
triage.
Karen has
question.
something. Yeah.
Oh,
Are we doing this next week? No, right?
Usually no.
Yeah, usually no.
is KubeCon next week? Oh, it is next week.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm not going, so I don't know.
It is
Okay,
next.
no. Assignments for
The
the next
next
call, which is the
one should
week
be
after.
The 10th.
24th? Oh, wait.
Uh,
No, wait.
April
Yes.
10th.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay, the 10th. Cool.
Given that,
Does anybody? Yeah, for the next call. So the week after KubeCon.
I could do that.
Um,
I could moderate that
Okay,
one.
Scott. I can do notes. I'll sit myself down for issue triage and PR review too. I didn't really do much last week.
Oh, sorry, I actually cannot do that. Someone else will have to do that. There's a family thing that day.
I'll take notes.
Okay, well, I'll switch back to moderator. Um, Anybody else down for issue triage or PR review?
Yeah, you can put me down for PR review.
Awesome. Okay, awesome. Thank you, everyone. And a couple minutes to spare. I gotta go to the dentist, so I'm gonna have to say goodbye.
Before
Have a
you
good day,
go,
everyone.
George, how's your leg? You getting around all right?
I can stick some weight on it now, a little bit. Not walking yet, so yeah, I think KubeCon would have been too much next week.
Oh, I should
Excuse me.
actually make an announcement because we're not going to have the next one until April 10th. That the next patch release is, I'll write it down on the list. I wasn't thinking of the 2-week schedule here, is as due on April 9th. And I'll be helping with that.
I guess the last thing I will note myself is if you are going to KubeCon, please make an appearance if you can to ContribFest on Wednesday at 4:15 to 5:30, and for the general presentation Thursday at 5:30 to, well, I think it's 5:15 now, or 4:45 to 5:15. They changed the times on us.
Cool.
Cool. Hope to see those who are going to be able to make an attendance. And if you need to get, if you need to get a visa or something to get into the UK, please make sure you do so. Otherwise, you're going to have a very painful immigration process.
Oh, sorry, one last thing real quick. Evans really helped me out this morning. He pointed out that taking the tube, which goes directly from Heathrow to the Excel, I think end of line to end of line is and the Elizabeth line
Hit the
is
Elizabeth line.
so much faster than taxi. So
yeah. Always hit
so
the
much
tube.
cheaper too.
Anything in London, take the tube.
Yeah, but the airport, just one line direct.
Yeah.
So, all right. See you guys.
All right. See y'all on Slack and at KubeCon. Bye.